Welcome back to Florida Sportsman Project Dreamboat. Join us as George LaBonte joins Brian O'Donnell to discuss their favorite one-man dreamboat builds from this season of Project Dreamboat.
You know what, we actually put together some great stories, I think. I mean, one of the things that I enjoyed about the season was trying to find the human side of the story, and tie that together with the build. And I think we really succeeded with that this year. Starting with the Whaler, for example, the very first show of the season. The Boston Whaler, now this is Alan Black. This guy's a sport fish captain from Stewart who grew up in Walker's Key in the Bahamas. And for anybody that's ever been to Walker's, you've ridden on the Love Train, that was a 25 Whaler. For him, the significance here was he worked for a guy running a private boat, and that gentleman, he was fighting a battle with cancer, and he went 8 years, and the guy at the end of his life decided to give Alan this boat so he'd have a boat to take his own son fishing on, but he had his work cut out for him. He built this boat so he could deep drop and fish for swords. He needed to put a transducer, which on a Whaler, can be problematic. I mean, you've seen how this boat is made of foam. Well, he had to route out a spot into the hull, cut a piece of that foam out, and dried in this transducer into the bottom of the boat so he could read in those extreme depths. Some other things, Alan does a lot of trolling, and in the tropical heat, I might add. He put a great big, really nice hardtop on the boat, added the taco riggers to it, for trolling. A lot of nice custom touches for his fishing needs. The boat is called the Xephos, the Greek word for this double-edged sword. And having a gift of a boat, the boat being given to you, was kind of a curse and a blessing at the same time. That's where he came up with the name, but he'll be able to enjoy the boat for a long time with his family.
All right, George. So one of the boats that really caught my attention, and it has to do with my need for speed, was a boat those guys built, the Scandi White. They were actually out of Daytona Beach. They owned a race team. Tell me about that boat.
Yeah, you know what, that was a really cool story, and that one just kind of fell in my lap. This story started years ago when Todd and his brother were younger. When they were kids, actually, their uncle had this boat, okay? It was just a straight up old John boat, but those guys loved that boat, and their uncle used to take them out on it. The boat sat, and it really fell apart and ended up filling up with water, and it was in the uncle's yard. And finally, as adults, they were able to talk their uncle out of the boat. Okay, now fast forward into their life as adults, these guys have a Daytona race team, Spirit of Daytona. They had the fabricating shop to do all the custom metal work on this boat, powder coating, and basically they took an old wrecked John boat and really went all the way with the boat. Having the ability to use all those assets and tools at the race shop made a huge difference. This boat was really tricked out.
The one that got me this year was the Dustin Tool tribute boat. That thing was pretty incredible. That was over the top. I don't care what anyone says. The audience, all the people that watch this show, I knew that drew some tears.
That story, it really was special to me, and the Tool family, as I said, they're just great people, and, really tragic the way this boat came about, but, what a way to honor his son. And the story is, his son originally bought this boat, and he had plans to make this boat a nicer boat, but unfortunately, it just didn't end up that way, and he was taken too soon. And I think Jeff and his sons, really had their heart in the right place when they started the thing, and it just escalated into something way bigger. They were really able to incorporate a lot of personal touches, to honor the memory of Dustin here, and, the finish work and stuff on the boat really reflects that. And I know Jeff and Dalton said that they feel Dustin's presence every time they get on the boat. In fact, Dalton said that if Dustin could see this boat, he'd fall out if he saw what they did. I'm really going to have to agree with him on that.
So tell me about that other boat the guide had down in the Keys.
Gary Skrobeck is a guy who grew up in the Keys, and his dad, Skip Paxton, is one of the old guard, just like the guy with the coup de craft, legendary old-time guy who's been there guiding since the 60s, all right? Skip was friends with Willie Roberts. This was a 1972 Willie Roberts boat that, very similar to the boat that Skip's guided on for 50 years, a boat that Gary, as he was growing up, admired from a distance for a long time and always dreamed about having a boat like that, or even that boat one day. Well, as an adult, the opportunity to get this boat comes his way, and he decides, I'm going to take this thing and do a hull-up restoration, and I'm going to use this for my own guide boat. I'm sure this boat looked way better when he got done with it than it did the day it left Willie's shop. And it had the ride of a 72 Willie with all the modern technology incorporated into it. The last boat we're going to talk about here today is the Tonzi, the dumpster boat, okay? This guy is a person who has no knowledge of boats or boat building in any way, zero experience. Only boat he'd ever been on was he had a Zodiac that he took on a trip to the Keys. And once he did that, he and his wife decided they wanted a boat that they could go to the Keys and take vacations on. And here comes this boat next to a dumpster. And with no knowledge of boat building, the guy loads this thing on a trailer and takes it to his house and starts diving into this nightmare of a project. All right. He could transform the boat bit by bit from watching YouTube videos and going on boat forums and just talking to people. When we met him down in Palm Beach and I saw the boat for the first time, I couldn't believe this guy built this thing. He really demonstrates to the world too that, you know, you can put your mind to something and do it. You know, he said to us the very first time he put the boat in water, now, and he said the boat jumped off the trailer, and to him it actually felt like the boat missed the water. You know, like he felt really a sense of pride that he brought this thing back to where it belonged. I mean, it was really a really cool story.